working and supporting the top tier. And if we don't do something, I look for it to crumble.
Mr. Kerr, where do you think, you're out there, where do you think we're at economically right now?
Relative.
There you go, there you go.
Okay. I think it's kind of the, if you're familiar with Atlas Shrugged, it's much like that. The idea of innovation kind of goes by the wayside. People that formerly in businesses where you had very thin margins to begin with, margins continue to erode, there becomes no more motivation to be involved in that business. And Atlas Shrugged, people just start disappearing. I think that we'll see that, at least on that microcosm.
Mr. Smith, where are we at right now economically?
We're still on the bottom in treading water.
Mm-hmm.
See glimpses of hope, and then they go away just as quickly as they show up.
Yes. Where are we at right now?
Oh boy, good question.
30 seconds.
Washington has got us stifled. The economy is just, you know, the leadership in what's going on is, as you all know, I'm very much active in some other politics, and I think that there's trillions of dollars on the sideline. Everybody is waiting to see what happens, obviously, with the election, and regulation has been killing us. So it is very, very slow.
Okay, last quick question. Bullet answers. Anything you advise me to do, let's pretend that I can take to Washington when I go back tomorrow and we'll turn it into law. When it comes to high fuel prices, what's one thing you'd like to see your government do to improve the situation? One thing. Start with Mr. Zuber.
Cut the regulatory red tape and start becoming more dependent on our own oil and resources in this country.
Mr. Kerr.
Increase supply in whatever way that we can do that, whether that's additional drilling or
Additional drilling. Mr. Smith.
Same thing, additional drilling, more supply.
Mr. Say.
Approve the pipeline.
Approve the pipeline. You did that in 3 words. Thank you. Thank you all. My closing thought is we are treading water right now. We're barely treading water. Things out there are so much worse than people in Washington realize. Our unemployment rate is not 8.2%, it's higher than that. Every quarter we've adjusted our growth numbers down. It's difficult to say we're even limping along. We are, you used Atlas Shrugged, the metaphor, and it's an apt one. The metaphor I use is, look, this is the most innovative, entrepreneurial, go-get-em, energetic country that man and women have ever created. And it's like, right now, it's like Gulliver's Travels. It's like we're laying down on our back, this great American engine and this great American economy, and we're all tied up. We're all tied up by all these regulations, by all this red tape, by all these taxes, by all this new big healthcare thing that was thrown on us, and the American ingenuity can't get up. It's like we're on our backs, and this isn't rocket science. We try to complicate things in Washington all the time. You create jobs. All you want Washington to do, I think, lay down some simple rules, and then get out of the way, and let you do your thing. Unfortunately, that is not at all what Washington has done the last 3 to 4 years. And as I say every time I'm with you all, with small business heads, my first and only instinct is to apologize. I think Mr. Zuber, Mr. Kerr, Mr. Smith, Mr. Say, I apologize for Washington because you all have a target on your back. For some reason, this administration, for some reason, too much of Washington wants to just go at you and make your lives miserable. And for that, I apologize. I want to thank you all for being here today. If it were up to me, I'd hold 10 field hearings for every hearing we hold in Washington. we'd get people out of Washington coming out here in this great country talking to people, as well so that folks who don't ordinarily get to Washington can listen. But we learn more when we listen to you and hear from you. So thank you all for coming. You have, I believe, provided great insight into this issue of high fuel prices. Your written testimony will go to the committee, and we will study and continue to work on the things that you're all concerned about. I ask unanimous consent that members of this committee have 5 legislative days to submit statements and supporting materials for the record. Hearing no objections, so ordered.